John Mahon, percussionist and vocalist, joining us from Los Angeles this afternoon. We were supposed to be together tonight in Indianapolis. This is actually the first of, I think, about 17 shows that have been canceled due to the coronavirus, right?
Yeah. 17, and hopefully we'll have it together by then, and we will start back up on this second leg in May, but it's anybody's guess, right? What's going to happen.
So how is your California coronavirus quarantine life going right now?
Well, I'm a big cyclist, so I just literally ran back in the house and jumped in the shower because there's what they've done here is they've not only are we supposed to be quarantined in our homes and not basically go anywhere, but they've shut the beach down, and they're starting to shut the state and national parks down, because what's happening is everybody wants to get out, and large groups of people are now going to these parks to walk and hike and just be outside, which I think is fantastic. But what they're doing is they're being in big groups of people. And the whole idea here is to be separated from people. So I drove like 20 miles today just to find this really remote mountain bike trail that I know about that kind of overlooks Malibu a little bit, but it's out that way anyways. And it's pretty far out and pretty remote. And it was great. So basically today I got up and, drove out to this trail and rode it for about an hour and a half, and then came back here. And there's not a lot of people on the road, and all the restaurants are closed, and you see a lot of people walk in the neighborhoods. So in a way it's kind of cool.
Yeah Were you still in Australia when the news came down about 10 days ago, or had you left by then? No,
we were there. I left there, so it's been 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks now. But we knew, we heard about it in Australia a month ago, because we hear about it a lot there earlier, because all those cruise ships come from China, and the cruise ships do that whole Asian Pacific cruise thing, New Zealand, Australia, Singapore, Thailand, all the way back up, Hong Kong, all the way back up in there. And every day, my hotel in Sydney, when I was in Sydney, that is, every day I could see a cruise ship pull into the harbor, unload the people, and come out, and then of course it hit the news that, they think it's what first started over there. They were talking about it being a cruise ship problem at first, that's how they were going to just keep the cruise ships away. But then there's a lot of influx from China in Australia too. So yeah. So we definitely knew about it like a month ago, and we kind of finished the tour over there where Tom Hanks seemed to have picked it up. The Gold Coast.
Oh wow, yeah.
Or Brisbane. So that was one of the last places we were. So that was kind of creepy. Like, did he get it there?
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
gosh, yeah. I mean, one of the first celebrities that we heard, that actually got it, as opposed to, people are starting to take this a little bit more seriously. So, I mean, by all accounts, a lot of people, at least as far as Elton's concerned, and maybe yourself too, but, would consider this a pretty, grueling tour schedule. So when you get the news that you're going to have this downtime, I mean, what's your first reaction to that?
It was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because we only really had like 2 weeks off between the Australian tour and the beginning of the American tour. So it was good. The good thing about it is we were still going to be in the United States, which is much easier for the band, and most of the crew is American. About maybe, I think about half of them or a quarter of them are British, probably. But the band all lives in LA. So everyone if we had to go out of the country again, it'd be like, ooh. So this was kind of, okay, this is cool, but now hearing that it could last a long time, that's a little bit like, you want to get out there and we want to play,
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, I was going to ask you one question about, we have some questions from our Facebook fans here too that we want to get to here in just a couple of minutes. One of them having to do with the production rehearsals for the show, and that's kind of a mysterious thing sometimes for fans. They imagine the people there on stage, and they have this so tightly together. It's beautiful. It just sounds like it's so easy. What is a production rehearsal like for the show? When do they take place? How long do they? What's the emotions involved in something like that?
The production rehearsals. Well, this is the beauty of Elton. He doesn't need much rehearsal because he is the show. I mean, he will come in there and just play these songs. And there might be a song or two that he has to go, how did I do that? And what chord did I play here? And, he has to have his memory refreshed a little bit as to maybe some chord changes and the lyrics. I'll put the lyrics up on the teleprompter. But the bulk of the production rehearsals, which would be let's say the video being played along to the band, we're not super high tech. Like a lot of these bands you see play, it's all synced to maybe a SMPTE code that comes out of a computer. So, maybe the band is playing along to some type of a click track, and then the click track syncs up to the video. We don't play to a click track. Everything you hear there is live that we're playing. So nothing is on tape. Nothing's coming out of a computer. So when we start the song, the video guy literally has to push the start button to play the video that's going to go along with that song. Now, in the production rehearsals, we have a fill-in piano player. And what he will do is he will play those songs along with us. So Elton doesn't have to sit there and play them over and over again till they figure out how to sync the video to the way we're playing the live song. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
To let's say to the tempo of the song and how long is the song actually going to be, so they know when to stop the video and does the video fit well. And at the same time, the lighting people are, as we are rehearsing with the video people, the lighting guys are doing all their changes and deciding who they're going to light for what part of the song. So most of the production rehearsals are done with a fill-in piano player that Elton doesn't have to go to. And he will come in for, let's call it the dress rehearsal. So when they've got it all pretty much down, the lighting and the video syncing and all that stuff, then Elton will come in and we will spend a couple days with him, just like, especially when we started the farewell tour, that was probably one of the most rehearsed, one of the times I've seen Elton at a rehearsal for a long time, like 3-4 days, where he actually was there and we went through the songs, because he wanted it to be right, because we, once we all got in there and saw that stage, we were like, wow, this is fantastic. So, so we spent a lot of time just making, we also spent a lot of time deciding, and it's really him is deciding the set list, because the set list is super important, the flow of the set list, because we're playing for like a good 2.5 hours, maybe 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I think there's 25 songs in the set, something like that. So it's really complicated to figure out, how do you put these songs in this certain order? When do you bring the energy up and when do you pull the energy back down and put a ballad in there? And a lot of Elton's songs are ballads. It's kind of what he's known for. So we have a lot of ballads. So you have to know when to kind of like wake the audience up again. Hey, wake up, and play like, I'm Still Standing or something, because, we have so many songs that are mid-tempo, like Daniel and Tiny Dancer and Leave On. And then we have slow songs like Someone Saved My Life Tonight, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word. Those are all beautiful songs that you just pretty much, you got to play them, right? If you don't play those songs, people are going to be pissed off.
That's right. Speaking of some of the, behind the scenes kind of stuff. What I mean, let's say we're supposed to be in Indianapolis tonight, you and I and 20,000 of our closest friends.
Yeah.
So if that were happening tonight, what's a typical tour day night schedule like for you and for the band?
The typical day is, let's see, we would have arrived the day before the show. When we tour in America, we just pretty much fly in the day before, and there's not really much that goes on. We will go in, like today. If today was the show, the band would have gone in a little bit early, like let's say 3:00 or something like that. Once they've got the stage all set up, and all the instruments up there, up and running, the technicians kind of get all the instruments up and running and make sure everything works. 3-4 o'clock, Elton will come in, and we'll just run through a couple of songs that something maybe we haven't done in a while, like let's say we took I think we took Believe out of the set, and we put can't remember now. Burn Down the Mission, maybe something like that.
It was several weeks prior to the cancellation. Yeah.
So Elton just wants to.
Was it I Want Love?
Yes, I Want Love is right. We put I Want Love in, but we started dropping it in a few places just because the set was getting a little bit too long, and that was right around a couple of those shows where Elton wasn't feeling well, so he was shortening the set a little bit by just dropping one song makes a big difference. Mainly because that's not it sounds like it's an easy song to sing, but it's not the easiest song to sing because it's constant, singers know what I mean. You're just constantly singing. There's no big breaks in the song. And Elton said that sometimes that's a tough song for him to sing. So, it's an easy one to throw out.
Yeah. So, okay. So you might get in about 3:00, go through some of the songs that you rehearsed a little bit less. And then it's kind of hanging around until showtime and doing the thing, huh?
Get some dinner. We have this company called Popcorn Catering, and these guys are amazing because they show up super early in the morning, because some of the guys that come in and hang everything from the ceiling, like when you go to an arena and see the stage set up, a lot of that stuff you're looking at is hanging from the ceiling. And I don't think a lot of people know that there's these little hooks up there, and that they call points. And the guy that's called the rigger, he will determine where the speakers and the lighting rigs hang from these points in the ceiling. And it's all about weights and distribution and all this stuff that I have no idea how the hell he does it. But he knows all these different arenas, and he gets in there super early in the morning. Back to the catering company, those guys are in there in the morning. They make breakfast for the crew, and we're talking 60 people or something like that. And then they make a lunch again, and then they make this incredible dinner spread for everyone to have dinner before the show. And so, that's basically all we'll do is we'll rehearse a couple tunes, and Elton might want to talk about, he might pull Davey, our guitar player, musical director, Davey Johnstone. He might want to talk to Davey about the set list, and they might throw things here back and forth, like let's flip flop this song with this song, but mostly after that rehearsal, we will kick back and, check our instruments and grab some dinner and, cup of coffee or something, wake our butts up now that we're all old.
We got a question from Stephen Marshall. He said he's often wondered how did it get started that Elton performs with two percussionists and a drummer, and what it's like playing with Ray Cooper, kind of the legend. And he says,
Right.
for each song, what's kind of the arrangement that you have with Ray, and how does that all come out?
It's not complicated, but it is complicated. I mean, Ray, of course, was in the band a long time ago, and Ray created a lot of those parts. So Elton, when Ray was available for the, I guess it would be the $1 Million Piano show that we did in Vegas. Elton came to me. It's kind of a funny story. We were doing the David Letterman show, and Bob Birch and I were sitting in the waiting room waiting to go on. And Elton comes in the room and he goes, I need to talk to John. And Bob goes, you want me to leave? And he goes, no, you can stay here. And he sits down and he goes, I'm thinking about asking Ray Cooper to be in the band again. And I thought he was firing me. And so did Bob.
Sure, of course.
Bob was kind of like, what are you going to do that right here before we go on, And I was like, okay, sure. You want Ray to come back in the band? That's great. I mean, whatever you want, Elton. And I go, so is that it? Do you want me to go? What do you want? Are you letting me go? And he goes, no. I just want to make sure it's cool with you. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was so nice of him, And he goes, you guys can just sit down and work out what you both want to do. And so when Ray came back in the band, I just said, Ray, this is your baby. I mean, everything that I play on that stage, I got from what he did on record, or I maybe altered it a little bit to fit my style. I don't play anything like he does. He has that theatrical, big, visible type of playing style that I can't even copy it. I've tried, I wind up hurting myself.
Yeah.
And so, when he came back in, I said, Ray, I want you to just play what you play, man. You just do whatever you want, and I will fill in where it needs to be filled in, and I'll just watch what you do and lay out here and there. And because I do so much singing in the band now, I'm kind of fine with if there's a couple songs that I just hardly play any percussion on or don't play any on at all. So just because I, just let Ray do his thing. So we have a real good, him and I, a really good rapport, and he's great to be around because he's so knowledgeable, and he's more of a classically trained percussion player where, I'm more of a drummer that's turned into a percussion player, and more of a jazz and R&B background, where he's more of a classical rock and roll background. So we have completely different styles. So I might play something that he's like, oh, I love that. That thing you were doing was great. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I will go say the same thing to him. Ray, that was fantastic. He'll go, oh, it was crap. It was absolute crap.
A lot of people that we were asking for some questions for you from fans, and several people just saying, please thank him for the drumstick he gave me on stage, whether it was in Vegas or here or there. So a lot of people loving those drumsticks he gave him. Christine said, she said, thank him for the drumstick he gave me on stage in Vegas. She knows it was May 5th, 2018. And then she said, please ask John who or what inspires his early and current passion for your work other than Nigel and Ray.
Well, as far as my personal playing, I mean, I probably one of the biggest bands that I got hooked on was Chicago.
Okay.
Right? Yeah,
cool.
Because my older brother was in like a 7-piece horn band. He played saxophone, and I would go watch them rehearse, and they played all these Chicago songs and like Blood, Sweat, and Tears and stuff, like anything they could throw horns in, and soul tunes, Motown songs.
Earth, Wind, and Fire, maybe. Yeah,
Earth, Wind, and Fire, right. So right away I was influenced by any kind of a band like that had a horn section and that more jazzy thing. And I kind of grew up playing along with a lot of just basic rock and roll records, everything from the Guess Who to Led Zeppelin, a really wide range of bands. And you know what? Honestly, it was kind of whoever, if I could afford to buy a record in those days, that's what I would learn from. Or if one of my friends had a record that I could borrow, and every now and then I might go buy a 45 if it was like the Doors. I really dug the Doors, so I would get like that. What was that song, Touch Me? It was great to play on drums, So my influences, I will go back and say that mainly was Chicago, like Tower of Power. I got really into them. And then when I started to actually study drums, I went more into the I started getting more into the jazz bands a little bit more like Weather Report and the Yellow Jackets, and of course the traditional guys like Miles Davis, and drummers like Tony Williams was a big influence on me. I was, but as far as rock and roll drummers, I did play along with some Rush records for a while. It's kind of how I learned to play at odd times, was playing along with Rush.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I have a lot of wide range influences that go everyone from rock and roll bands to like Peter Erskine. I saw Peter Erskine. Him and I are like right around the same age, but he was playing with Stan Kenton, like a big band, and after I saw him play live, I started following everything he did. Then he joined Weather Report, so he was a big influence on my playing. Rock and roll drummers. I have to say, I of course I always listened to Nigel play with Elton, but it wasn't one of those records. I think my sister or one of my other brothers had the record, but I wasn't too into it like some of those bands. By that time, I had started to. There was this one rock and roll band. I'm trying to think. Grand Funk Railroad. I loved Grand Funk Railroad, so I played along to those songs. And James Brown. My brother had a James Brown album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Right.
That's why I'm so.
Have you heard?
That's why I'm so. I won't say I'm crazily diversified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you paid any attention to this band that's done a lot online and now doing some touring, doing a lot of those covers of the Chicago and Earth, Wind and Fire? I believe they're called Leonid and Sons. Have you heard them at all?
I don't think so. How do you?
They're from it's Leonid. Just these flawless type Chicago, and the way that they produce their videos, so they're all in studio, and there's maybe like 5 or 6 of them on the screen, but they've made some waves here in the last time, and some people are saying, well, they sound more today like Chicago might sound, in general, but
I went to
they're pretty good.
A lot, man. Every time they would come through town, we had this great place called Blossom Music Center, just south of Cleveland, and it was one of these outdoor amphitheaters, which in the summertime, that's what you did, and I couldn't wait. Every time they came there, that's where you went to see them play, and but I saw them maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I thought they were fantastic. They, sure, they don't sound exactly like they used to sound, and there's only a few guys that are still in the band, the original guys. But, when you're a fan, it still has that real sound, and Robert Lamb still sounds great. You just reminded me of somebody, James Taylor. I used to go see them.
Oh, yeah.
They'd always be on those summer tours of amphitheaters, right? And then we got to tour with James Taylor in South America a couple years ago, and I'm just crazy about James Taylor. So I got to meet him, and it's like, wow, this is like so cool.
Wow.
And he's everything. He's everything that you would think he is. He's exactly that same guy.
Really?
He's that mellow kind of aw shucks. That's what he sort of reminds you of, guy.
Huh.
So
that's cool, and it's cool even this far into it that makes your heart beat real fast when you get to do something like that after all those years.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. Certainly, cool. There's some people that I'm still a huge Sting fan. I've always been from the Police, and then when Sting got into his Dream of the Blue Turtles, he went more of a jazzy direction. I was like, man, that is the coolest thing. So, and I've got to meet him quite a few times, and he's a great cat.
That's cool. Speaking of Ohio, we have a question here from Dave Whitman, who says, ask him about his hometown. If he ever gets to go home, I believe that's Canton, right? Mm-hmm. And it says where he lives now. So we're catching you from LA, which is, I'm assuming that's where you're living now, but there he's asking you about your hometown and if you get there too often.
Yeah. I mean, I still have a place there. I have my parents' home there. When they passed away, I bought their home. So
cool.
I still go there, not as often as I would like to go there, but it's rural, and it's really, I mean, compared to LA, everything is well, right now there's nobody on the road. It's
right,
great.
except for now. Yeah.
Except for now. But when I go back there, I can just kind of relax and throw a lawn chair, a lawn chair in the garage and have a beer and watch it rain. That's one of my favorite things to do, because it doesn't do that here very much. So I do get back there, and I have quite a few musician friends there that I still work with. Some of the guys that I worked with when I was, a kid, basically in my teenagers and early 20s. This guy, David Marchione, I still work with him quite a bit. We write songs together and record, and did some recording for a guy named Tim Hunt, a piano player. So I'm still in touch with those guys. It's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think the last question I had about the kind of the tour deal is just kind of the, you already mentioned, like once in a while, Davey and Elton might tweak the songs a little bit based on what's going on. But other than that, kind of where are you mentally, psychologically, emotionally when you're on stage in the middle of that 2.5 hour like thing, and what's going through your mind as you're playing? And then also, like, are there other night to night little differences that you wouldn't know about?
Well, what's going through my mind, when we're playing the songs, a lot of it, because we are one of those bands that what you see is what you get, nothing's on tape. So you have to pay attention. Even after all this time, because you played these songs so many times, it's sort of easy for you to start wandering a little bit. And, everybody does it in their job. And then musicians are playing the same songs all the time. It's the same way. Your mind starts to wander sometime. Did I leave the iron on in my hotel room? Kind of, while I'm
glad I'm not the only one that does that.
While I'm playing Leave On, Leave On left his iron on in the hotel room. So yeah, I'm thinking about, sometimes things will pop into your head like that, like, oh shit. But most of the time you have to kind of pay attention, and it's kind of fun because you want to make it as good as you can all the time. So I think everyone in this band strives to play the best they can all the time. And we feed off of Elton, because the nights where he's really on, some nights he's just kind of going through the motions and he's playing the songs, and other nights the guy's really on fire. He's just in one of those moods where he wants to play at a whole nother level and just push it a little bit, experiment a little bit, play a different rhythm on the piano, or, he's lost me in the middle of Rocket Man a couple times, where I have to come in with this big boom in the middle of it. And sometimes he starts getting really crazy on the piano, and I'm going, okay, where is he? 1, 2, and I'm actually start counting. And sometimes he'll actually lose me because he improvises so much that he, I don't know where he's going, is what I'm saying. So I have to super pay attention. But that's the beauty of the way he plays, is he's not one of those guys that does the same exact thing every night. He always keeps you on your toes. And you can't ask for more than that when you play with, other musicians, or play with a band leader that's not just out there, okay, what's the next song, blah, blah, blah. How much time do we have left in the set? He doesn't go like that. Once he hits the stage, he's 120% he gives of himself every night. He's a different person on stage than he is off stage. I don't know if a lot of people don't realize that. It took me a long time to figure that out, but as soon as he puts his foot on the stage, he's Elton John, the performer, and he's going to give people, he's all about giving people their money's worth. He does not like to, he does not like to pull songs out of the set, and he does not like to not be able to finish the set, or if he's, God forbid, he's not well and he can't do the show, that really, that drives him nuts.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember being at, I forget exactly what month it was, but it was in Evansville, Indiana, where the piano sound wasn't right, and he delayed the show for 10 minutes. And he had quite the colorful language and a bit of a tantrum and that kind of thing. Gave you a minute back there to catch your breath, I guess. But it was this piano sound is not right. Get back here right now. And I think he ended up, apologizing to his piano tech people. But he got it right, because he said, I will not do this unless it's exactly right for you.
Tech so many times, man. The poor guy. The guy, bless him. He knows. Elton just when he's that's what I go back to what I said before. When he's on stage, it's all about the show, and in his mind, it does not compute that instrument that he's playing does not work. To him, that thing is so much a part of the show that he's thinking, how could it possibly break? This I have to have this to give you my all. And when that doesn't work, he can't give his all. He's on stage for one reason only, and that's to perform for those people that pay a lot of money to come and see us. And I
guess you could say that of any artist, but that in theory that would be true. But you're saying, for him, there's just no truer thing that you could say about him, probably.
Man, he snaps like a crazy person. Yeah. Tell him I said that.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He just snaps and he's like, this damn thing. Why can't you fix this? I don't understand. Right. And the guys down there, you never know what's going to happen with these instruments, man. They get that we beat the hell out of them, night after night. That piano gets packed up, flipped up on its side, the legs come off, it goes into this giant road case, and then the next day out it comes again. They flip it over, they put the legs back on, they hook up the electric parts, the electronics. It's got electronics built into it too. It's got a teleprompter built into the lid, and then they got to tune it. Physically tune the piano every day that they use it. So it's a complicated process.
Wow.
And I think Elton gets a kick out of yelling at people too. He thinks it's
and it gives TMZ something to write about, so it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
All right, last thing here. I haven't been recording the video of this part, but I just want to do this for this part because I know our buddy Jim Turano will appreciate that you brought him up a minute ago. But I just want to say thanks again for taking the time to do this. And, I like this and I would have liked doing the concert too, but this has been a nice thing talking to you. So let me see if I just got this right here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. Now this is for Jim Turano. So we get on here and he goes, John says, now are you from Chicago? And I said, well, I'm in Champaign, just outside Chicago. And what does John Mahon do but start talking about Jim Turano? So what did you say? I didn't catch that before.
I said, man, that guy, what a pain in the... No, I didn't say that. I said, hey, Jim, how are you, man? We're going to miss you.
And you said that... we were talking about how Elton dedicated a song to him, I think, at the United Center last year. And he
saw him in the audience so many times. And I think Jim probably met Elton a long time ago. But Elton, he sees people that he recognizes in the audience, and he can only see into the audience the lights are so bright you only really see a couple rows in there, and especially for him. But he saw Jim out there and I know that guy, and then it dawned on him, that's the guy that's been coming to the shows for years. And amazingly enough, he says, hey, I want to dedicate this song to you, and that's a rare thing to have a dedication.
No doubt.
And I think Jim's got what? Jim's cracking on 200.
Going on 200 pretty soon here, yeah.
That's amazing, really.
That is no small thing.
Yeah, he definitely knows the set better than I do.
Very good. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate that. It's been an awesome conversation, and I hope you have a good break and keep yourself as busy as possible and log some miles on that bike. So I'm
crazy busy, man. I've been writing some songs and just cleaning up some stuff here in my studio, making it all work again. And so I can find plenty to do. And I hope everybody out there does the same, stay at home and read a book and do something that you've been promising to do for a long time, because this is the best chance to do it. And
that's right.
LA is going to be a marker, I think, a benchmark for the rest of the country to see how we handle this. But, unfortunately, I think it's probably coming towards Chicago, I would think, because it's going to hit the big cities. So, but we'll see how LA goes here in LA. People, I think, are actually trying very hard to do the, stay in home thing and, closing the loop of getting infected by someone that you don't know that goes to the same place you go, and, just stay away from those places if you can. And I'm dying to go to Starbucks, but I haven't gone.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got my Nespresso maker and I'm happy with him.
Yeah. Oh man, that's right. Well, God willing, hopefully we'll be together in Chicago, and we don't have to cancel any more shows this summer. So come June or whatever the case may be. So
I'll keep crossing our fingers that this is all gonna, we're gonna see this thing work its course, and hopefully it won't be too bad. But you never know. If not, we will. Elton, when we were in Australia, we discussed this and that this could possibly happen, and there's no reason why if we have to cancel the whole summer, we will come back and make those shows up. We'll just, we'll add it on another year to the farewell tour. So, the farewell is going to go on and on, I guess.
One way or another.
One way or another. It's as long as everybody's happy playing and we're doing the shows, but we will make up these American shows, though, definitely.
Beautiful. Well, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah, hang in there.
Sounds good. Well, there he is, John Mahon. Thanks again for the time, and we'll hopefully be seeing you.
Okay. Thank you, John.
All right. Take care. All right.
Bye-bye.